In the distant future, far beyond Earth, on a planet known as Eldora, there existed a royal family of great power and ancient lineage. The Eldorans were known for their beauty, their wisdom, and their long reign across the galaxies. But their legacy was tainted by one tragic curse, the curse of the Leper Queen. The curse had been passed down for generations in the royal family. It was said that, on the eve of the monarch's greatest triumph, the queen would be struck by a terrible disease that would disfigure her body and mar her beauty forever. The people of Eldora feared this curse and whispered of it in hushed tones. The queen's beauty would transform into something grotesque. Her skin would become scarred, and her once majestic face would be covered in lesions that no physician could heal. As if fated, each monarch before had succumbed to this cruel fate. This cycle had continued for centuries, and so it was that Queen Solara, the most beloved ruler in Eldora's history, fell prey to the curse. She had been loved by her people, her wisdom revered, and her beauty unmatched, until the illness struck. Within days, her skin began to burn with the blisters. Her face became a grotesque mask of scars, and the people who had once adored her now shunned her in fear. Solara was cast away into exile, banished to the farthest reaches of Eldora, where she was left to suffer in isolation. The palace mourned her loss, and whispers of the Leper Queen's curse spread through the galaxy. No one dared to speak her name aloud, for fear that the curse would fall upon them as well. But there was one man who dared to challenge the curse, the human medic, Dr. Elias Cross. Dr. Cross was a highly skilled medic who had spent much of his life traveling from planet to planet, offering his services to those in need. He had no interest in politics, royalty, or the grandeur of intergalactic life. His only passion was healing. When he heard of the Leper Queen, however, something inside him stirred. He had read about her curse in ancient texts, but he had also heard whispers of her wisdom, her intelligence, and her compassion. When a distress signal reached his ship while he was passing through Eldora's space sector, Elias knew he had to help. The message was simple: the Leper Queen is dying. We need help. It was from a small group of loyal servants who had been left to care for Solara in her exile. Elias was apprehensive, but he couldn't ignore the call. He set course for the remote planet, unaware of what awaited him. He had seen many strange ailments in his career, but nothing like this. A curse? It sounded like a fairy tale, but Elias didn't believe in magic. He believed in science and medicine. Upon arriving on Eldora, he was met by a group of old servants who guided him to the hidden palace where Solara had been kept. The building was desolate and overgrown with vines, a shadow of its former glory. As Elias approached the grand hall, he felt a chill in the air. He couldn't help but sense the sorrow that lingered there. Inside, in a large, dimly lit chamber, he saw her. Queen Solara, once the pride of Eldora, was now a shell of her former self. Her skin was disfigured beyond recognition, her once beautiful face covered in scarring lesions. Her hair, once flowing and golden, was now brittle and thin. Yet, despite her appearance, there was still something regal about her. Her eyes, though shadowed with pain, still held a flicker of intelligence, a glimpse of the woman she had once been. Elias approached cautiously. Solara sat motionless on a large chair, her eyes turned toward the window. She had not moved in days. "Your Majesty," Elias spoke softly, kneeling beside her. "I'm here to help." Solara turned her gaze toward him, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and suspicion. "You're not afraid of me?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Elias shook his head. "I'm not afraid of disease. I'm here to treat you." For the first time in months, Solara's eyes brightened, and she almost smiled. But the smile faded quickly, replaced by sorrow. "Noah's come to help me. They all fear the curse, the way my own people have abandoned me. Elias took a deep breath. That's because they don't understand. I can help you. I know that this is not a curse, but a disease. We can treat it. He spent the next several days in the palace, working tirelessly to analyze Solara's condition. Her skin was covered in sores, and her immune system was failing. It was a rare condition he had encountered before, a form of autoimmune disease that caused the body to attack itself. It wasn't a curse, but it was a disease that had been misunderstood for centuries. Elias knew that if he could administer the right treatments, he could save her. As the days turned into weeks, Elias worked relentlessly. His efforts were not without difficulty. Solara's condition was severe, and the disease had taken a toll on her body. Yet through his treatment, the lesions began to heal, the inflammation started to subside, and the pain that had consumed Solara slowly started to ease. As the physical changes began to show, a profound transformation took place in Solara's spirit. She had been a queen without a throne, a ruler without a people. But now, as she looked in the mirror and saw the signs of recovery, she felt something within herself stir, a sense of hope she had long thought lost. One evening, as Solara sat in front of the mirror, examining her reflection, Elias entered the room. He had spent the entire day preparing another round of treatment, but when he saw her, his heart skipped a beat. Her face, though still marked with some scars, was no longer the mask of suffering it had once been. Her features were softening, her skin beginning to glow with the health it had once had. I didn't think I would ever see this day, Solara said quietly, turning to him. Thank you, Elias. You've done what no one else dared to do. Elias smiled, though he couldn't deny the deep sense of satisfaction he felt. I did nothing, Your Majesty. You did the work yourself. I only showed you that healing is possible. As the days passed, Solara's recovery continued, and with it a newfound sense of purpose. She knew that she would never be the queen she once was, but the pain that had defined her life was finally gone. More importantly, she knew that she could once again take up her role as a leader. Months later, Solara had become a symbol of hope for the people of Eldora. Word of her miraculous recovery spread, and her people, once fearful and distant, began to return. She had been healed, not just physically, but spiritually, by the human medic who had dared to see her for who she truly was. Elias had remained by her side throughout the entire journey, and the bond between them had grown stronger. It was clear that their relationship was something deeper than just a doctor-patient bond. They had both saved each other in ways that were beyond the realm of medicine. One day, as Solara stood before her people, restored to the throne she had once lost, she turned to Elias and smiled. You did not just heal my body, Elias, she said softly. You healed my soul. I will never be the same, and neither will Eldora. Together, we will change the galaxy, and so, the Leper Queen became the symbol of hope and healing. Her people united under her reign once again, proving that even the greatest curses could be overcome with compassion, understanding, and love.